You know someone who has been through absolute hell and somehow become the strongest person you know. Modern psychology talks about post-traumatic growth, resilience training, bouncing back, mental toughness, grit. These aren't wrong, but they miss something deeper. They focus on recovery, on getting back to where you were before, on building defenses and coping mechanisms. But the people who fascinate us most didn't just recover from their darkest seasons. They were transformed by them. They became something they could never have been without walking through that particular fire. They carry a kind of unshakable peace that can't be taught in workshops. The modern world wants to help you get over suffering, to minimize it, manage it, medicate it away. The oldest Christian writers understood that suffering, faced correctly, doesn't just build character, it forges souls that cannot be broken. They discovered something our therapeutic age has forgotten. Paul understood this when he wrote to the Romans. We also glory in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. Romans chapter 5, verses 3 and 4. Notice he doesn't say we endure suffering. He says, we glory in it. James goes even further. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. James chapter 1, verses 2 and 3. Pure joy, not grim acceptance. Joy. John of the Cross knew this truth from the inside out. Born Juan de Yepes in 1542 in Fontejivaros, Spain, he lost his father when he was just 7 years old. His mother, Catalina Alvarez, was left destitute with 3 young sons. They moved constantly, seeking work and food. John spent his teenage years working in a hospital for syphilitics and incurables in Medina del Campo, washing bodies, changing bandages, holding dying strangers. Death was his daily companion long before he became a mystic. At 21, he joined the Carmelite order. But even this brought suffering. The order was corrupt, lax, focused more on comfort than holiness. When John tried to reform it alongside Teresa of Avila, his own religious brothers turned against him with vicious hatred. They saw his call to authentic spiritual life as a condemnation of their comfortable compromise. In December 1577, 9 Carmelite friars broke into his house at night, kidnapped him, and dragged him to a monastery prison in Toledo. They locked him in a windowless cell, barely 6 feet by 10 feet, with only a small slit high in the wall for air. For 9 brutal months, they brought him out 3 times a week to strip him naked and beat him with hemp whips until his back was shredded. He was given nothing but bread and water, scraps that barely kept him alive. His captors hoped to break his spirit and force him to abandon his reforms. Most people would have broken completely. John of the Cross wrote poetry. In that hell of isolation and torture, he composed verses that would become some of the most beautiful spiritual writing in history. He wrote, "In the dark night of the soul, bright flows the river of God." This wasn't denial or philosophical detachment. It was hard-won discovery. The soul that walks in love neither tires others nor grows tired, he later taught, for love bears all things. From his prison cell, barely able to see his own hand in the darkness, he penned these extraordinary lines. "O flame of living love that tenderly wounds my soul in its deepest center." The wound becomes the source of the flame. John understood what we've forgotten completely. The darkest experiences don't just test what's already inside you. They create entirely new capacities that weren't there before. They strip away everything that can be lost until only what truly cannot be destroyed remains. This is precisely why he called the Dark Night a gift. Not because suffering is inherently good, but because it reveals what is genuinely unbreakable in the human soul. I want to be careful here about what I'm saying and what I'm not saying. I'm not saying we should seek out suffering or that all suffering automatically makes us stronger. Some suffering is purely senseless, destructive, and evil. I'm not romanticizing trauma or suggesting that pain is always redemptive, or that victims bear responsibility for finding meaning in their abuse. Some wounds only destroy and leave nothing redeemable behind. But I am saying this: when suffering comes, and it will come to every life, there's an ancient way of walking through it that transforms rather than merely damages. The saints discovered that the human spirit possesses a capacity for unbreakable strength that only emerges under ultimate pressure, not the brittle strength of never having been tested, but the flexible, deep strength of having been broken and reformed by fire. This isn't about gritting your teeth and pushing through with raw willpower. It's about discovering that your deepest center is made of something that suffering cannot touch or diminish. The people who become truly unbreakable aren't those who avoid the fire or who get through it fastest. They're those who learn to let the fire burn away everything except what's eternal in them. They find the river that flows even in the darkest night. This transformation doesn't happen automatically or easily. It requires a specific way of facing the darkness. It requires, as John discovered in his cell, a kind of letting go that feels like death but becomes resurrection. Your hardest season might be forging something in you that comfort never could. The saints knew that true strength isn't built in safety. It's discovered in the fire.